Hey guys, welcome to another exciting prequel content creation session. My name is Nicole. I am from the Prequel team, and today I will be your host and moderator. I am super excited to chat to our guest and ask her all your burning questions. And that guest today is Evelyn Cheng, who is a London-based travel photographer. So interesting thing about Evelyn is that she started her career during the COVID pandemic in 2020, where she was really playing with her camera in her free time. And then in 2021, moved to London, started her journey as a professional photographer. Really interesting that she actually discovered her passion for photography through her love for drawing, painting, and music. We really want to get into that today. Hi, guys who are just joining. We will be chatting to Evelyn today. Again, just to say, my name is Nicole. Super excited to hear from you guys. Drop your comments in the comment section. Invite your friends to the live. Let's get it going. Before we invite Evelyn in, just a few house rules. I'm sure you guys already know how it goes, but if you're new and need a refresher, I'm just going to go through some of our guidelines for this session. So, number one, please be active as you guys are right now. Drop your comments, drop your questions in the question bubble, and then also, please, no spam in the comments. Let's keep it to the conversation that we're having right now. Let's keep it to content creation. Let's learn from Evelyn. Let's learn together. No inappropriate language or comments in the chat. All good vibes, please. And then share your opinion on the chat as it goes. Let us know where you're coming from. Drop it in the comments. Do you use Prequel? What are you using it for? Are you excited to learn from Evelyn? So yeah, let's get into it. We'll be inviting Evelyn into the chat to us. I am super excited. Joining us soon to chat about her experience as a
and yeah, I create photos, videos for brands, hotels, tourism boards, a lot of things that actually you wouldn't see on my social media, because I like to keep my social media as something that I am personally like my passion project. I wouldn't share something that I have for another client purely for them on my social media. So what you see on my page is like 10% of what I do.
Wow. And honestly, what's on your page is chef's kiss. Like, your aesthetic is amazing. And I think a lot of people do want to get into it. I first just want to chat to you a little bit about your career, because it sounds, honestly, I think a lot of people are envious when you hear travel photographer. It sounds like a dream job. But what would you say travel photography actually is? And what is it like being a travel photographer?
Yeah, I think travel photography, like, I'll be honest, this isn't travel photography isn't, like I said, isn't 100% of what I do. It is just a section of what I do, and it's what I brand myself as, because that is the kind of sector that I'm involved in the most. But it's with a wide range. It spans from hotels, tourism boards, destinations, and I think hotels and tourism boards are my two main sectors. And yeah, I think I have nothing to complain about this. Like, it sounds amazing, and I have to say, like, I'm very grateful to be doing this. But I think the only thing that I would say is that to get to travel photography, you have to do a lot of you have to build up your portfolio so that the brands and the hotels will trust in you to do that for them. And to build up your portfolio, it takes a lot of time to find a load of different hotels to collab with you before you have anything. So it's like a kind of thing that takes time to build up before you can land your first client, because it's not like you have a university degree, and it says, like, it gives you that that certification. You're kind of
Right.
so your portfolio is your certification.
Right, right. And I know you said you don't have a lot to complain about, but I do have to ask, like, what would you say are the three best things and the three or two worst things about, just the kind of professional career that you've taken?
Yeah, so the three best things I think are definitely being able to explore the new culture, the people in that particular destination, um, the like being able to meet fellow creators on that trip. Like, I always make the best friends that, you know, kind of last. I'd imagine that they would last for a lifetime. You know, we might not see each other for a year, but if we're ever in the same destination, I know that we would connect. And also just the just being able to live in that local culture and being able to document that. I think that's very special. And as for worst things, I think the top one on my list is just the lack of sleep, because out there you wanna get as much as possible. So, you know, you'll be up for sunrise, but then you'll be out at night doing like evening shots. So the sleeping window is actually quite small, especially in the summer. Like in the summer, you know, sunrises are like 5, so you're up at 4:30. So the lack of sleep is definitely the worst. And I think of another one, maybe jet lag, but like, I don't know. That's not. It's like,
Right.
anyway.
Yeah. But speaking of the locations, how do you actually go about finding locations? I know that you spoke about not always going to touristy spaces, but what drives you to specific locations?
I think, yeah, for me, the last place I want to take a photo is at a tourist destination in front of a landmark, because I think that's already been done so many times. There's always so much more to a place than its tourist landmarks, and that is my passion, is to showcase like another side of this particular location, even if it is a very well-traveled place. Like, even in London, I would try my best to find locations that many people haven't been to and that I reckon they would be interested in. I don't think you would find like a shot of London Eye or, you know, Tower Bridge on my page, but more so viewpoints of the location where I think, you know, it's a place where people could go and chill and actually enjoy without the whole stress of, like, you know, crowds and stuff like that. So to answer that question, I guess I surf on Google Maps a lot. So I'll go on aerial view and I'll literally just surf the map for I don't know, hours even, and then find like a spot that I think is suitable for what I'm thinking to shoot.
Right. Nice. What does your typical day on a trip look like? Do you plan your content out, or do you just like, is it just vibes? You shoot as you feel?
I think that depends on which client. For tourism boards, mostly they actually plan it for us. So we'll follow their itinerary, and so for tourism boards, they plan it for us. And typically we would shoot. There is no specific time. We kind of just have the camera out all the time. Like, have always be like, oh, we're definitely shooting here for sunset. But then a lot of the times you would get amazing photos, even when you haven't planned, like, in destinations where you didn't think you would get a great shot, but you actually do. And as for hotels, that is more something that I would plan myself. The most important thing for me is that, because I like shooting sunsets and sunrises, I just make sure to keep that window free, and then I go from there. And then during the day, I would go around the hotel, the resort, see what kind of angles or locations. So I do my research in the day, and then I'll shoot during sunset and sunrise.
Nice. Okay. When it comes to learning new techniques and tools, what resources would you say have been the most helpful for you?
I think YouTube is great. It's free. It has so much, literally endless amount of tutorials. And then from that, I think practice is the most important thing. Like, you might theoretically know how to do it, but I think once you practice, you really consolidate what you think you know. So yeah, I think 20% watch the videos, and then 80% just do it wrong, but fine, just do it.
So just to dive into that a little deeper, like, can you share what you feel are essential skills necessary for a travel photographer? And how did you, in particular, acquire them? I know that you mentioned a little bit about playing with the camera when you had free time, but how would you say you've gotten the skills that you feel are absolute essential skills?
I think knowing what works best for your camera. So depending on your brand, I shoot a Sony, so I previously practiced a lot in different conditions with my Sony, sorry. And I think just not being afraid to, like, you might have like something really well planned out, but just not being afraid to break it and do something else, like try something else that isn't according to plan. Because I think most of the time in your mind you have it all planned out, but actually when you get there you realize that something else might work better. So you're going to have to suggest, not be afraid to suggest to that tourism board, for example, to say, actually, I want to go here instead to do something because you think it's going to work better. So yeah, just not being afraid to voice out and just knowing your camera equipment well, and I think the rest will come into place.
Nice. So what will you say? So I know this is a little bit forward, and I hope it's okay to ask. Would you say that making your money comes from traveling? How do you monetize essentially your content?
So there's a few ways. There's like brand sponsorships where they would hire me to create promotions for that specific brand. So the idea is that I would promote a service or a destination on my social media, and that would act as like a brand collaboration. Or alternatively, they would just hire me for their content, like a bank of social media content for them to use. That would be something that you wouldn't see on my page, but it would be something for them. So, and then I also do the traditional photography where I just shoot for like a client that wants me. And yeah, that would also be something that you don't see on my page. So, like a lot of the things, a lot of my income comes from outside of social media, actually. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Let's dig a little in your bag of tools. What does your personal kit look like?
I'm pretty simple, I can't lie. I have my phone. My phone's like, it's amazing. I use the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, which takes like the highest quality videos that I could ask for, and I just love how light it is. So I can't lie, I absolutely love using my phone. And then I use my Sony A7 III with the 28 to 75 millimeter lens. That is my go-to, like the set that I use pretty much all the time, because it's just light. I enjoy traveling light, and I think for me, gear isn't the most important thing, because I'm not looking for like the style that I shoot in. I'm not looking for the sharpest, the most high quality. I'm just looking to capture that specific emotion in that location. So for me, I'm not fussed about having the most precise lens to carry with that body, because for me it's just about capturing that particular emotion. So like I said, my phone will do the perfect job as well.
Nice. Okay. What other countries do you really like? Either are you seeing most often, or do you enjoy actually traveling to while working? And which of these would you say were your most memorable trips?
My most memorable trips?
Yeah.
I think my most memorable trip last year was Georgia, which I went in the summer. It was one of those places that I didn't know much about, and I think for me, destinations where I have no preconceptions, like no idea what it's going to be about, the people, the culture, the food, those are the ones I enjoy best, because like it's just nice going in with an open mind and going in with no particular idea of what shots to get in that sense. Like it sounds bad, but it's actually great, because you'd end up creating something very original. Whereas, you know, if you go to somewhere like Paris, you already have so many shots in your mind of what you've seen people do previously, which can kind of block your creativity, in the sense of you subconsciously try and make that same shot. And recently, for this year, I think Nepal has been my favorite trip. Like again, I went in with not knowing much other than, you know, Mount Everest, but we got to experience a totally different side of it. And yeah, it was wonderful.
Nice. I know that you say you don't do a lot of the touristy place, but someone had asked if you'd actually seen the Northern Lights.
No, I haven't seen the Northern Lights. I'd love to see the Northern Lights.
Nice. On your bucket list. Um, what happens when you have like unpredictable moments? Kind of, how do you prepare for the unpredictability on whether it's on set or whether you're uh really shooting for yourself?
Um, I think it's just like an ability to be able to adapt quickly, which is why I always leave room for adjustments. Like I don't plan too strictly so that if anything doesn't go to plan, it's like my whole plan is ruined. I always leave room for in case like something else happens. So I think um, yeah, so far I haven't had any major issues.
Okay. So, what would you say is the most unique thing that has happened to you on a trip so far?
The most unique thing, like something I've seen that's unique.
Yeah, or if, whether it's the circumstances, whether it's something that you've seen, something that you've done.
Oh, I think that would be when I was in Java and I was like on my way down after a sunset from a viewpoint. And you know, the sunset was beautiful. You were surrounded by volcanoes. You were just on your way down this windy road. And you know how you like in Disney movies they have fireflies and it's like everywhere and it's just so magical. And it was literally like that. I was like, no, it's crazy. Like it wasn't just one, but it was like a swarm of them, and it was just the most beautiful thing. Like little lights all around you, and it was like the road was super dark, so in a way they were lighting up the road, and it was. But yeah, that was the most unique experience, I think.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, so you're getting lots of comments in the comment section. Send through your questions. Someone asked me if you've experienced paranormal activity.
Yeah, I saw that. Luckily not yet. No.
That is cool. How much time is spent actually doing the content itself on a trip? Do you have time to actually see the country when you do go?
Yeah, so this is actually something that I try to balance. A lot of the time you are spending a lot of the day just creating content and going to locations specifically to shoot something. But I think being able to enjoy yourself while shooting is the key. Like, don't make a difference between work and enjoying. You gotta try your best to enjoy it whilst you're shooting it, which is not always possible. Depending on like the weather conditions, sometimes it's quite rough. But I think for the most part, like I've been able to enjoy myself on these trips because I'd find like even if it's like 1 or 2 hours during the day to just walk around and not have the camera out and really take it in. And yeah, so it's been okay.
Nice. So I just want to go to some of the questions quickly. So Muskang, I hope I'm saying that correctly at Muskang. Who edits your videos?
I edit my videos. All of it. I shoot it. I edit it. Yeah, everything is run by me. Yeah, I don't have an editor yet, and I don't think I don't envision myself getting an editor because I think yeah, I have a very particular style I'd like to go for, and I think perhaps if I was able to explain it and I really didn't have that time, then sure. But as of now, I think yeah, it's just me.
Nice. Okay, and then at my stick kitten 24 wants to know, do you have any color grading tips, please?
Yeah, I guess so. So what I do a lot of the time is I'm inspired by a particular like color grade from a movie. So I would take that particular image and I would look at the colors. I'll even have it on like another tab next to Adobe Lightroom, which is where I edit my photos, and then try and recreate colors. So you have like your reference photo on the right side and your editing panel on the left side, and then try and recreate that same color scheme in your photo with like a similar setting. And that's, I guess, how I used to do color grading when I didn't really know how to do it. And then it's just practice afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. And then X Knockout wants you to know that you are a talented queen.
Actually, I know her.
Oh, great. We'll love the connected love here. So keep it going, guys. So you've mentioned that music, cinema, and paintings actually influence your style of photography. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I think all three of those things are just a different medium of art form, and I think they're all integrated. So yeah, I was heavily inspired by music at the start, and films as well. So a lot of my photos in the early days would actually be inspired by a particular movie. A lot of the times it's actually Woody Allen movies, because I think in his movies not much actually happens if you think about it, but the emotions he conveys is so rich, and that is exactly the kind of photos that I would like to produce. And like I said before, I'm not so fussed on creating the highest quality image. It's not really what my photography is about, but it's more so about creating a particular emotion that the viewer is able to receive and reciprocate. So yeah, and with music, I think with a lot of people are inspired by music because it makes you feel things. And I think the core thing is just paintings, films, and music makes you feel a particular emotion. So yeah.
Nice. And really when you think about it, photography is kind of like painting,
Yeah.
in a way. So and it's that like visual art of it as well, which is great. Can you name any travel creators that inspire you?
Um, I think in terms of creators, I'm very much inspired by Jocelyn, especially in my early days. And I've never said this name out loud, but I think it's called Mattia Lonsor. Yeah, I think these two are my favorites because, you know, the way they convey emotions through their images are another level. So I really look up to them.
Nice. Um, what other three countries would you say are worth visiting for any travel photographer from your perspective?
I'd say Java in Indonesia for sure. Yeah, like if you go to Bali, just don't miss out Java. I think in my opinion, it's actually better than Bali, but um, and definitely Georgia and Nepal. Like those two are not they're not gentrified yet, so just go before it is.
Nice. Yeah, I think before I move on to my questions, I'm just going to check with our community who's sending through lots of questions. Guys, please keep sending through your questions. At the Joseph Noah wants to know, what was your favorite place where you shot your photos?
My favorite place that I've shot my photos. I think again this would be in Java, Indonesia, as the top one, just because it just felt like a wallpaper kind of landscape. Like what I was seeing was so amazing that I didn't even know how to do it justice in a photo, and I don't think I did. Like I think I got about 2 shots, and I was like, oh, whatever, because you know this wasn't for a brand or a client or anything. This was just my personal travels, and I was like, actually, I would like to just enjoy this moment and not worry about getting that photo because it was yeah, being able to see like the volcanoes above the clouds and then having like stars above because there was barely any pollution and like the little twinkling city lights at the bottom, that was like a view that I couldn't compare. um, and I think a second one would be like a viewpoint from San Francisco just because of how expansive the city is. I haven't explored much of the US, but San Francisco has definitely been the top one, so yeah.
Nice. So we know that recently you've had a successful stint for the Samsung ad, so congratulations on that. I think that's super cool. Could you share some details about your experience with the Piccadilly Circus board? How did you become involved with this campaign?
So actually, I'm a Samsung ambassador for this year. So They had this campaign come up to show off their camera, and yeah, it was super unique. I've never done anything like it. It was like a super cool. They had a photo booth outside Piccadilly Circus. You'd get your picture taken on their phone, and because it's so high quality, they're just gonna put that image straight onto the billboard up there, which is like a huge screen. And yeah, that was to show off how clear and high quality their cameras were. And it was pretty crazy because I couldn't see the images. Like, I didn't know what the images looked like until they were on the board. So like, it could have been bad. But yeah, that was an amazing experience. Nothing else paralleled that one. And yeah, I'm super grateful to be part of the Samsung team. They always provide the most unique and fun experiences.
Nice. And this speaking about your experience and your work with brands, you've worked with hotels like Ayana Resorts, tourism boards such as the Nepal Tourism Board, Georgia Travel. Do you actively seek out these collaborations, or do brands tend to approach you for partnerships?
It works both ways. I guess when you are a freelance photographer, you have to be proactive in reaching out, because that's just how it works. You know, there's probably brands that a lot of people want to work with, and if that's a brand you want to work with, then you gotta take that first initial step and try to reach out to them and get that collaboration. But yeah, so it works both ways. I'd say it's a 50-50. You know, 50% reach out to me, and I also reach out to some myself. So for example, with Ayana Resorts, that was me proposing a collaboration with them, because yeah, I adored how beautiful their resorts were. Yeah.
Yeah, but for anyone, let's say who is they've just gotten into the career, and I know you've kind of shared some of the tidbits on it, who are also looking for brand partnerships. What is the best way for them to possibly, go about doing something like that?
I think having a portfolio is the most important thing, because you can say as much as you want, but if you have nothing to show, then it's not the most the email isn't going to be great. Like, they're not going to receive it with a great response. So I think, yeah, having an email is wonderful. Like, a nicely written out email is great, but then have a really strong portfolio to back up what you're saying. I think that's what's going to land you the deal, because after all, it's like it's a visual thing. So if your visuals are great, then they're most likely going to want to have you.
Nice, right. Are there any particular upcoming projects that you can't wait for, that you're about to do?
So I have one next week on Monday, in Ibiza, and I'm super excited for that because just because actually I was able to invite a lot of my close friends that I haven't seen in 4 years, and I'm going to be sharing this beautiful villa with them. So so I'll be working with a villa in over there, and then I'll be sharing it with like 8 other friends, which I'm super excited to see because I haven't seen them in like 4 years. And yeah, a lot of the time I don't get to take my friends on these trips because it's just not feasible. So being able to have all 8 of them in one place with me is very exciting.
Nice. Cool. Just gonna look at more questions. Some people are still just joining. If you just joined, we are speaking to London-based travel photographer and content creator Evelyn Cheng, having a really great discussion about her content creation process and her travels, her inspiration. If you want to know more, just drop your question in the little question bubble, and we will ask those questions. I see a burning one coming up, and it is, have you been to India?
Have I? No, I haven't. And I was so close when I was in Nepal, but because I was there for work, I couldn't just leave and go. But I think on like the border as well, like 20-minute drive or something, and I would have been there. But absolutely would love to go. Yeah, there's so much to see.
Nice. Let me just check here. Someone asking, and let me know if you're okay with this question, but do you work with an agency or do you kind of do everything on your own?
No, I don't work with an agency. Yeah, I do everything by myself. So emails and everything, communications, it's me directly. So far, I think because I think this is what works for me. So I've just carried on doing it this way, and I think with a lot of photographers, because we aren't, there's a difference between like an influencer. How do I explain it? Yeah, because my main job is being a photographer, so I think there isn't that many agencies that like sign with photographers because it's not the same sector. And yeah, I don't know. So far, I've just been doing everything by my own, so and it's working. So
Nice. I think you've already answered this one about how you managed to make your income from photography, where Evelyn had mentioned that you do brand partnerships as well, and we were just discussing those brand partnerships. Very exciting. And yeah, so was there anything in addition to that?
so it would be brand partnerships, tourism boards, hotels, and they still fall under different categories because some would be as a promotion of that hotel, and some would be creating content for that hotel, which is not related to my social media. So that would be purely a photography job. You know, you go shoot photos for them, you give it to them, they use it. So a lot, yeah, not everything is, not all of my jobs are related to my social media, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I get you. And what does your editing process look like? Like once you have, taken your photos, you've explored, and captured what you needed to, what happens next?
I will typically, yeah, just open them all on Adobe Lightroom and choose the best one and um, go ahead and edit it. Like normally before I even shoot the photo, I have exactly like I know exactly how I want it to look like. So I'll just go ahead and recreate that image in my head and yeah, try and put it on screen basically. Yeah, with a lot of the images that I shoot when I'm in the location, I know exactly how I want it to look like and how I want it to feel like. So yeah.
Nice. Cool, guys. Send through more of your questions. Just looking through. Someone asking, how do you create a realistic halation effect? Am I saying that right?
Realistic what?
Halation
Oh,
effect?
well, I don't really use that technique on my videos. Actually, I just use a mist filter at the end of my lens, and I guess that gives it like a little glow in the video. But I don't use the halation.
Okay. Thank you. I realize I have not been saying each person's name, but thank you for your question, Mr. Starscared. Olivia, thank you so much. Let us know if you have any more questions, if you have follow-ups to that. What types of tips do you want to ask Evelyn about? We still have time. So just waiting to see, just looking through comments. Yep, finally tomorrow is Friday.
Yeah.
Let me just see, just looking through. Nice, lots of hearts and love coming through for you.
Thank you.
People super excited. I think sending you love.
Thank you.
Cool. So just waiting to hear from you guys. Remember to share this live with your friends as well. Whoever it is who's interested in content creation, travel photography from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Let's add, let's share, let's ask. There's still lots to learn from Evelyn, so keep it coming. If you were to kind of say, give advice to people who are not yet in the content creation space, maybe they're just thinking about picking up a camera, what would you say?
I would say learn how to maximize the features out of your phone first, whatever phone you have, because I always like to think that the best advice is the one you have, and I still hold true with it. Because I started out on a really like an iPhone 4 or something like that, and the screen was all cracked and everything, but I still managed to take some decent photos out of that, and then afterwards you can learn to edit on those photos as well. So before you spend like a huge amount of money on this brand new camera, just use your phone first, and then once you know the kind of style you enjoy creating, your kind of the kind of vibe and the mood that you enjoy photographing, then you'll know the best camera to match that, because different cameras give you like a different sort of look. So I think knowing what style you want to create is perfect for then buying like a camera and then spending money on that camera, because you won't be switching around a lot because they're not cheap. So really use your phone. There's a lot to learn from your phone, especially with the Samsung. Like now they have so many features to shoot things where you can actually adjust like the settings of like the exposure. So even there you can start learning the basic camera the camera settings even on your phone. So that's actually really wonderful.
Nice. And I think, Ari Tharrington, that might answer your question. So the question also was, what advice could you give a new photographer just starting out? But this question, asking in particular for those who have no schooling, is there, how do they go about it?
So I had no schooling as well, and I think a lot of photographers don't. I think a lot of them never went to school for it, and actually online is the best place. Like, look on YouTube, there's plenty of tutorials, how to, just for beginners, they'll talk you through each step of how to actually use your particular camera if you already have one. And, they normally come in like episodes, like an episode of from 1 to 10. So you can just kind of follow through. And like I said before, watching is one thing. I used to watch a lot, but I never really practiced. So in my head, I understand how it works. But then when I try and take my camera out onto into the real world and try and use it, I didn't know how to use it, because it's just something that needs practicing. And sometimes you'll find that what they say doesn't necessarily hold true. So it's just like a kind of figuring it out yourself, as well as taking advice from people on YouTube. Like you gotta have a mix of both.
Great. Ari, I hope that you were listening. That was really great advice. Another question is, which apps do you usually use for editing?
So I use Adobe, both for video and photos. So it's Adobe Lightroom and Adobe Premiere Pro. And Photoshop sometimes to clear up the images. But so far I'm just using Adobe. It works for me, and it took me some time to learn when I was 19, so 4 years ago. And because now I'm used to it, I haven't changed because it does its job. And I think a lot of photographers use Adobe as well. Lightroom and Photoshop, they're great. Yeah.
Awesome. Just looking through and to see if there are somebody saying hi. Hi, Suleiman. How do you play with contrast or sharpen to make your photography stand out?
So actually those two tools, I don't like to bump it up. If anything, I like to reduce it, because I like to go for that peaceful kind of for me, contrast, I would like to take it down so that there isn't that kind of there isn't that harshness in my photos. And for sharpness as well, I actually don't want it to be super clear. So if anything, I would take the sharpness down, and I would bring up the grain in the images so that it gives it a bit of texture. So for me, those two tools, I like to bring them down, because for me, I enjoy having dreamier photos.
Nice. And that question was from Celoy. So I hope that answers your question. If you have a follow-up question, please send that through. Yeah, and then for mobile editing, do you use the same apps? Is it a different approach? So just going back to our previous question.
Yeah, so for mobile editing, I think Adobe Lightroom is free on mobile. Like the main editing tools are free. And for videos, I still export them to my laptop on Premiere Pro. But like for phone photos, I still use Adobe Lightroom.
Awesome. Cool. Just thanks for all your questions, guys. Keep sending them through. We still have a bit of time. We still have Evelyn here with us. For those who are asking, this live will be available after, so you can always go back and hear some of the questions that were answered. Evelyn's been sharing really great tips so far, and really great travel destinations to put on your bucket list. So I'm just going to see quickly if we have any more questions coming through from everyone. Send them through, guys. I love to see the comments, but if you've got questions, send those through in the little question bubble in the corner here. And questions relating to the app, we will get back to you guys. I see those too. Thank you. And someone wants to know, we have been speaking about it, but I think just for the sake of everyone wanting to know, where are you currently based?
So I'm currently based in London, in the UK. Yeah, this is my base, and it has been for the past 3 years. Yeah, it has been for the past 3 years. I don't see it changing anytime soon, but who knows? Yeah.
And for my XLE, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering that. I know that you didn't talk about this earlier, Evelyn, but I'm just going to ask again, what camera and lenses do you use?
So I'm using a Sony a7 III paired with the Tamron 28-75, which is my favorite lens to use. It's super versatile, it's light, and it pretty much covers most things. Like it covers pretty much everything that I need. And then I have a 35mm as well, but I actually use that less because it's like a thing to bring with you. And a lot of the time, I enjoy traveling lightly, super minimal, super light. So 28-75 lens is definitely my go-to lens all the time. Yeah.
Oh, great. Cool. You guys asking where Evelyn is based. Tell us where you're based. Where are you joining this live from? We'd also love to know. Cool. And also send through those questions, guys. We still have some time. Just looking through. Hi to everyone who's just joined. As you can see, we've got Evelyn on our screens, chatting to us about her content creation process, about her brand and her relationship with other brands. It's been super exciting. If you've been missing out, we will be saving the live, so you can always check in on this full chat. If you just joined and you've missed everything and you have a burning question before we end the live, please send that through. Just drop it in the little question bubble in the corner, and we'll make sure to ask Evelyn for you. So just looking at this. So someone asking, sorry, my XLE again was asking, do you think camera gear matters?
No. Well, to some extent, yes, but pretty much no, because I went a really long way with my iPhone 4 and then my iPhone 6. And then only until I wanted to shoot things in low light did that really matter. But I think for most things, no, because I think with photography, it's capturing a way of seeing. And if you can master being able to see things that other people can't, or like being able to capture that in an image of that particular way of viewing the world, then I think think that's what photography really is. So if you can do that, then once you do have the camera gear, you're gonna be good. Like, um, don't let that limit you. I think your phone is, or whatever you have, the gear right now is absolutely amazing. There's always ways around it to make it work, because I know photography gear is super expensive. So whatever gear you have, like you can make it work. Like when I had like a really cheap camera, like a digital camera that my mom had, it was grainy. It was super grainy. And then instead of trying to get rid of the grain, I just made it look intentional, that the grain was intentional, and added even more to it, so that it was like, yeah, I made it like an intentional look. So yeah, whatever you have, you can make it work.
Yeah. I mean, just with some creativity and passion, really.
Yeah.
Nice. The Joseph Noah wants to know, who are your favorite photographers to collaborate with, if any?
I haven't collaborated with many, but I do have musicians I'd like to collaborate with, and Joseph, you're one of them.
There we go.
Yeah.
I love it. At Adelina saying she loves it, or so I'm assuming he or she loves it. Thank you. When is part 2? Well, we'll have to see about bringing you back. Hey.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be great. What do you find are common misconceptions? Like, one about being a travel photographer, and then from a technical perspective, if there are any within your field, like what are some common misconceptions?
Regarding about being a travel photographer, I think, yeah, I think, I don't, let me think how to answer this question. Yeah, I think with being a travel photographer, a lot of people would assume that it is only travel photography that they do as their source of income. So when it's about income, they'll think, because I brand myself as a travel photographer, but within that, I also do a lot of other things to support being a travel photographer, because there's also expenses in that. So I think when I say I'm a travel photographer, people will think that all I do, like literally 100% of my income, is just traveling and then getting paid for it, which is not true. I don't know who it would be true for, and whoever that is amazing. But for me, that is not true. And there's a lot of other things that I do on the side, like I said, just being a photographer and creating content that wouldn't be shared on my social media is also a part of my income that you wouldn't know about, because it is, yeah, it's just something that I do on the side, and it's not something that I would share on my Instagram, because, yeah.
Cool. Getting some amazing feedback in the comments. So just looking to see if you've got any more questions. Guys, we do still have some time. I think, don't be shy about what your question is. If it relates to what Evelyn does, content creation and her process, please do send those in the little box here for questions. Do you have any like frequent questions that you get asked, that you find people asking or wanting to know quite a bit?
Yeah, actually, a lot of my reels are filmed on my phone, and a lot of the time they would assume that it's filmed on a camera. But yeah, actually, recently I have the newest Samsung phone, and they're not paying me to say this, but I was genuinely shocked at how high quality it was, in the sense of like it looked like I filmed it on a camera, which is why in the comments they're always like, oh, what camera are you using to film this video? And actually I just use my phone, and that's like that's great to hear, because they're now starting to bridge the gap between the quality of a phone video to a camera video. And with the size of the phone, like, it's just amazing, because I love traveling lightweight. I love not having so much stuff on me, like being minimal. So the fact that a phone could do that is absolutely wonderful. And I think, yeah, it's just one less thing to carry around.
That's awesome. Yeah, just checking to see if anybody is sending anything through. That is cool. Lots of hearts coming, fire emojis. Keep them coming, guys. We love to see it. Showing Evelyn some love. Just checking. I think for those who have just joined and who might not be following you, do you want to just let them know what your handles are and where they can actually check out your content?
Yeah, so my main platform is here on Instagram, and it's my name, Evelyn Cheng, with an X on the end. So it's EvelynCheng with an X on the end. And it is the same for TikTok. I have a YouTube. That is actually somewhere that I would like to be more active on. Like this summer, I plan to post a lot more casual kind of videos. I'm not sure what on yet. Most definitely it'll be travel based, but something a little bit more casual and less perfected, so that you get to see an insight as to what I do, without it being like very perfect, basically. And on my YouTube, it's just my name, Evelyn Cheng. Yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, go and follow Evelyn. Check out her content. It's really cool. I think that even by looking at it, you'll be able to get lots of inspiration. If you're just starting out, particularly those who have questions about how to start out, apart from looking at her socials and following her, you have an opportunity now, just a few more minutes, to ask any questions that you might have. Remember, this live will be available once it's done. So let us, take this opportunity to ask the questions that you have. From Zoe C, how long have you learned to take photos? And do you have time struggling with taking or editing photos? If you do, how do you overcome that?
What was the second part? Do I have?
Do you struggle to take or edit? Do you have time struggling with taking or editing photos?
So yeah, I started properly when I was 19. Obviously, before, everyone takes a photo here and there, so that's what I was doing. But then when I was 19, COVID came into place, and there was absolutely nothing for me to do. And luckily, where my mom lives, so I went back to live with her during COVID. It's like a countryside kind of place, so we were able to go out because there was absolutely no one. So I started from there using my phone, like I said, for about 2 years. And then when I moved to London, I got myself a camera, and then that camera since. And so I think, to answer that question, I would have been doing it for 4 years now. But I definitely got comfortable with using my camera on. I used my camera actually only 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So total 4 years, but I think, it's just one of those things. You just got to keep practicing it, and you can easily do it and be comfortable in a shorter amount of time if you spend more time. It's just one of those things. And the second part was if I struggle to take photos, you said?
Yeah, and I think maybe it's like the finding the right type of photos and the time that it might take to do that, and then also the time that it takes to edit. Is there any complication in that process?
So luckily during COVID, no, I had all the time in the world. But since moving to London, sure, it's definitely been a little bit trickier, with finding the time to shoot and then to edit as well. And I think it's just a matter of prioritizing what is more important to you. So, there's definitely going to be less time with socializing, and I was happy with trading that out, because this was what I was passionate about. This was the kind of route that I wanted to go down. So you're going to have to give up a few things to, you know, if time is a struggle for you, you're going to have to trade off some things in order to make this work, I guess. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of prioritizing your time. And the more you're used to taking photos and editing, the faster it should get, theoretically.
Cool. Yeah, I hope, Zoe, see that answers your question. If you have a follow-up to that, we've got 4 minutes. You can try and squeeze that in.
Yes.
A very interesting one from Ari Tharrington is, how do you actually differentiate yourself from other photographers? How do you get inspired without replicating?
Yes, that's actually quite a difficult thing as humans. I think it's very easy to have, like I said, with Paris, you have so many images of what you think Paris looks like. Therefore, you're gonna subconsciously end up recreating the same photo, even if that wasn't your intention. Like, you're gonna go with what you know most. So to answer that, I think being able to differentiate yourself is not so much done through technique or anything, but through how you convey that place through an emotion. Because I think only with emotion can you give the place a whole different look. Because, you know, you can shoot the same place with night and day, but with like a different emotion through it. So, for example, if you wanted to shoot Paris, you shoot it in like this nostalgic mood. I think that in itself has so many ways of creating that feeling of nostalgia. And I guess that's what I do. Like, I don't really go for I strive for an emotion that I want to create, and then edit from there. So and I think in terms of that as well, try and find locations that hasn't really been shot before. That in itself will help create like new windows of how to take that photograph, because you might not have seen it online before, so you're probably going to be new to that location. So what you're going to think is going to be brand new. It's not going to have any pre-mediated images in your mind to create that, because it's a brand new location. And yeah, just don't be afraid to try anything new.
Awesome. I think that is great advice. Evelyn, it has been so much fun talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us, for taking the time to share your knowledge, your wisdom, your tools, your apps. That has been amazing. I don't know if you've got anything else that you want to say to everyone who has joined in, just as closing.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so much to speak about this. And if you guys have any other questions, my DMs are always open, so you can just send them over, and I'll definitely reply to it if you have questions. It's been so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Let's see about part 2. Enjoy. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for participating. Your comments have been great. Your questions have been great. If you joined late and you feel like you've missed out, don't worry. This live will be available. So it's bye for now. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Evelyn. Bye.
Bye.